I want to talk about two incidents that happened last year. Two moments where I behaved in a way that everyone, including myself, at that time would think was completely stupid and insane. But recently, I finally understood why I did what I did. And for the first time, it actually made sense. Last summer was one of the hardest periods of my life. I had failed most of my exams. I had almost lost my place at university entirely. I begged my parents for a second chance. They gave it to me. I promised them that I would work hard as a repeating student, that things would be different this time. Within 24 hours of returning, the first incident happened. A close friend needed her luggage back, luggage she had been storing at my place. It would have taken her 3 hours to come and collect it herself. So I offered to meet her at her new home instead, without really thinking about the fact that it would take me 2 hours of travel, time I desperately needed to study. My parent also needed to speak to me urgently that day. When I arrived with the luggage, my friend asked if I could stay to help move some furniture around. She would treat me to lunch. I thought, we're close, I want to be helpful. So I agreed, even though I knew I needed to get home. Even though my parent was waiting, I ended up going back very late. And on the way home, my phone was stolen. About 2 weeks later, the second incident. Another close friend had her phone stolen. It was her first time abroad. I knew how to report it to the police. And I thought, she needs me, I should stay and help. My parent had already told me to come straight home after school. Something important needed to be sorted. So I lied. I told her I needed extra time at school to finish a piece of homework. I thought it would take an hour, but then my friend needed to go to the Apple store to get a new phone. I knew I was already supposed to be heading home. My parent was sending messages asking where I was. I ignored them. I stayed anyway. At the time, and for a long time afterward, I had no explanation for any of this. I was a repeating student who had nearly lost everything. I had made a promise. I had been given a second chance that I knew I shouldn't waste. And within days of returning, I was spending hours helping friends move furniture and navigate Apple stores and lying to my parents about where I was. Everyone thought I was insane. I thought I was insane. I just didn't know what was more important. I didn't know how to prioritize. I was stupid. That was the story I told myself for a long time. Until recently, when my parent and I were talking about these incidents again. And something shifted. I started to understand that what I did had nothing to do with not knowing how to prioritize. I knew exactly what was important. I knew I needed to study. I knew I had promised my parents. I knew the second chance I'd been given was fragile and precious. I knew all of that. And I still chose the furniture. I still chose the Apple store. I still ignore the messages. Why? Because at that point in my life, I had almost nothing left that made me feel like I was worth something. My academic performance had collapsed. The version of me that used to be the top student, the clever one, the impressive one, that version felt completely gone. The place where I used to generate proof that I was worth something, it was no longer available to me. But there was one place where I could still prove my worth. Being a good friend, being the helpful one, the reliable one, the one who shows up no matter what. When my friend needed her luggage, when she needed help with the furniture, when the other friend needed someone who knew how to navigate a foreign police station and find the Apple store. In those moments, I could still be someone. I could still generate the feeling that had always told me I was worth something. I needed my friends to see me as helpful and kind, not because I was being selfless, but because I was desperately trying to feel like I still had worth. That was what I was really doing in those moments. Not being stupid, not failing to prioritize, surviving. In the only way I knew how. I was someone whose need for external validation had become so desperate, so consuming, that it was overriding everything else, including my own survival, including the second chance I had promised myself I wouldn't waste.